just want to give you some tips on how to get rid of that little bit of that test anxiety and to hopefully enjoy test time and enjoy that it's the end of the year. And so number one, get a good night's sleep every night and go to sleep at the same time every night, because your brain works a lot better when it's rested. I know you know that, but do it. Get lots of sleep. Get lots of sleep. Because then your brain will soak it in more, and your brain will process information better, and you'll have a better memory. You notice when you haven't had much sleep and you're like, oh no, I'm fine or whatever, you losing crap all over the place. You're like, where did I put that? Or where did I put my keys? Or where did I put that book? And you're just tired and you're losing crap like crazy. You can't even like remember where you put anything or dates that you had or whatever. Everything just becomes so much harder when you're tired. So it's the exact opposite when you're well rested. And how do you sleep when you're stressing about tests? Well, get in some physical activity in the day. Go bike riding or work out somewhere or do something physical. Go swimming or something. Because then that makes your body tired so that your mind can turn off when it's the end of the day, and then you can get a good night's sleep. So, because if you're laying awake and you're like thinking about it, you're waking up at 3 o'clock or something and you're like, test or whatever, and then your Tasha said get lots of sleep. I can't get lots of sleep, I'm totally stressed. Well, the next day you're not going to feel very energetic and want to go for a run or anything like that. And I know it's a bad cycle because you're tired, so you don't want to exercise, and then you've got a lousy sleep cycle. And maybe I'm making this more complicated than it is. Maybe, but if you can, get some physical activity in during the day. Get some fresh air, get some sunshine, drink lots of water, keep yourself healthy, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, and that sort of there. Number one, that would be what I would say to do well on your test and to kind of eliminate a little bit of that test anxiety. Number two, I would say don't cram for the exam, which I know is really hard not to do because there's so many other things you could do instead of study. And I know when you're like, you keep putting it off, and you keep putting it off, study for this, study for that, study for that, you're just like, oh, it's just so much, where to even start? I'm gonna go watch TV. I understand that concept. I've procrastinated maybe 1 or 2 times in my life, and so I understand. I understand. So, no, you have to break out a calendar, make a calendar, and be like, actually put in scheduled times you're going to study for certain things no matter what. Set down a certain time. And don't study on your bed because your mind associates that with sleeping. Don't study at the kitchen table because then you're going to get hungry and you're like, oh, I'm hungry, instead of studying. And then if you go to your friend's house, oh, I'm going to study with my friend. Well, you're probably going to hang out and play video games or something there, or just start doing something completely different than studying. Unless you're really focused, then go for it. But if you think that you might be wanting to do something else while you're there, because it is hard to focus, well, you know you and you know your patterns. So have a place specifically for studying, then your brain will associate that place with studying and nothing else. Because there's enough clutter up there, and you got to keep it well organized and keep yourself on track. You need to set yourself up for success even when you don't feel like it. That's the key. Set your surroundings up for success, even so that when you come across times when you're not successful, you don't feel successful, you don't feel on task, you don't feel like doing anything that you need to do, well, you've already set up a schedule and a place, and this is what happens at this time. It's kind of like if you're tired and at a certain time at bedtime, your mind and your body will go, okay, yeah, it is 10 o'clock or whatever, there's a place where I sleep, and we'll go to sleep eventually because that's what your body will associate it with. This is good stuff. So we're studying how to study. These are my study notes on study skills and memorization. Alright, so, okay. So since it's impossible to master any subject in its entirety, focus on the things that are most prominent, you know, those patterns that keep on coming up, like the things you have to know other things, right? Those like learn the terminology that's used and the basic concepts, and then you can kind of like build a web in your mind around those certain concepts. You know, like unit 1 is such and such a thing, unit 2 is such and such a thing. So once you have like what basically the unit's about, then you can kind of like connect the smaller concept to the bigger concepts. And I mean, you're on a time budget. You're always on a time budget no matter what, and you only can hold so much in your head. So just focus on the key things. Pay attention to when teachers say this is important, and always write that down, because they're not kidding. Okay, so the more you learn, the more you're able to learn, which is really cool. Cool stuff. Like, even if I'm taking a subject that has no relevance to my life, you know, like say history, or like, well, that was a long time ago, and I'm gonna be whatever, something that's completely different, then you would not need history, right? But by learning, by learning concepts and learning your brain into a different way, makes you smarter, right? So then it makes it easier to learn other concepts, right? So say you learn a lot about a whole bunch of different things, right? Your brain will automatically tie them all together and start painting this picture of reality, right? So the more you know, the more you're able to know, right? Because you have the basic groundwork and the basic concepts already in your mind, right? So you're going to be faster and quicker at thinking. You're going to be quicker at problem solving. And it's really cool because you're reading books and talking to people, like you kind of form this what reality really is, right? The more you know, the bigger your reality becomes, really, right? And nobody can take that away from you. Like, once it's already in your mind, it's there. And nobody can take away what you know. Which is kind of an interesting concept, isn't it, right? And the more your brain grows and grows bigger, and you learn more concepts and you just become smarter, the easier it is to problem solve, and the less stress you have, because then you kind of can look at the whole picture a little bit more clear. The way I like to look at it as, have you ever seen, okay, like a black and white drawing, right? It's like, say, of a town or something, or a city. And then say you put red over it, right? A red, you add a little bit of color to it. Like, that's a little bit more knowledge about the city, right? And so you're like, okay, I can kind of see where different stuff is or whatever. And then you put the blue on top, and that kind of starts making the other colors pop up, right? Like purple and different variations, right? So you kind of like have a little bit more better understanding. You can kind of see the picture a little bit more clear, right? And then you put on the yellow on top, and then the whole thing comes to life. You can see everything kind of the way it is from like a bird's eye view above, right? See, when we're kids, we just see in black and white. And then as we grow up older, we kind of start seeing more abstract. We can put together different concepts, use, you know, metaphors to describe different things, and it's kind of interesting the way the human mind really does grow and evolve, right?